Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Thank you, Blake, and thank you, Earmark, for hosting this webinar. As you're joining today's session, can I encourage you to type into the chat area where you're joining us from? I'm speaking to you from the land of the Jagera people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. My name is Heather Smith, and I'm the presenter for today's session, Maximising AI Efficiency, Practical Prompts with ChatGPT for Accountants. I'm a chartered accountant. I've run a management accounting practice for 2 decades. I specialize in navigating the business app ecosystem. I produce an accounting apps newsletter, podcast, and host a community focused on accounting apps. I'll send you details in the follow-up email so you can discover them. So by attending today's session, you'll be inspired by where we can use ChatGPT and take away a number of practical examples that you can build into your workflows and processes today. So there. I should have flipped through the screens as I told you that. I got too excited. So that gives you a quick overview of today's session. So now I would like to flip to my screen. Fabulous. So I encourage you, welcome to everyone who is joining us. Now, I encourage you to let me know in the chat if you don't find my screen that I'm sharing with you big enough, and I will enlarge it even further. Okay. So, in front of you, you can see my ChatGPT screen, and ChatGPT is rapidly evolving. And every time I give this talk, something seems to have changed. So stick with me, and I should find my way through. But we will navigate it. It's kind of like a car. Functionally, a lot of the things will be the same. You just keep switching which side the indicator switches, don't they? ChatGPT is a LLM, a large language model based chatbot developed by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, and it was launched on November 30th, 2022. It enables users to refine and steer a conversation towards a desired length, format, style, level of detail, and language used. There are other LLMs out there, but I'm focused on ChatGPT. So when you open up, and you can see ChatGPT open up, it always offers you some prompts. And these are fun that we can click on. So you can see we've got 4 options here. Let me pick on, let's pick an outfit to look good on camera. And this is just something random that they have there. So, okay. Let's see if I'm going to get back in there. Let's see. I'll try this one. Excellent. So ChatGPT, I'm on the cutting edge version of it, and it does play around with things, and it does occasionally say, okay, I can't work at the moment, and you do have to go back into it. Which ancient civilization are you most interested in? I'll say Greece. And oh goodness, I've asked for a trivia question. So it's giving me some questions to ask, but you can see how it's jumping in, asking me some questions, having a bit of fun with it. So I do encourage you, test that out and try that. Now, I want to initially explain to you in very simple terms what ChatGPT is. So this is a very, very simplified explanation of it. A librarian has access to all the books in the world. And what she does is she gets those books and she chops up all the words of the books. And she gets all the words and she throws them into the air like confetti words. Okay. And what we do is we come along and we prompt it. Okay. So when I come down into this box here, I'm prompting ChatGPT, and the prompt causes the confetti words to fall down in what should be the most logical popular position for those words to fall down in. So the prompt generates a response from ChatGPT. Now, what is really, really extraordinarily interesting is if we, and I've done this, if we all in a room ask ChatGPT the exact same question, every single response is different. Some of them, most of them are accurate. Some of them are inaccurate. Some of them are serious. Some of them are funny. Some of them are filled with emojis and exclamation marks. Some of them are very, very long, and some of them are concise. So it's really, really interesting how we have this thing on the internet, and with this large language model, and all of the responses can be slightly different because of the word confetti and how that actually works. So you're probably wondering what GPT means. So I'm going to jump in here and explain that one to you. I can either just keep going with this one. I might actually start a new one so I don't confuse it and thinks I'm going to continue with Greece there. Can you explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, what the G and the P and the T mean in ChatGPT? And what it's doing is I'm using ChatGPT for comprehension. And the G stands for generative, P, pre-trained, T, transformer. And you can see it's explained stuff in like I'm a 5-year-old. And now, in terms of comprehension, I'm just going to make a slight change here. And I'm going to ask it to explain it now like I'm a 15-year-old. And very often, if I am struggling to understand something that it has explained to me, I will go in and say, can you re-explain that to me like I'm a 15-year-old? Okay. So generative, it generates or creates response on the spot. And then it sort of weaves in like a musician. Pre-trained. The library it was pre-trained on is the library that librarian had access to. All the books in the world. And remember, all the books in the world disagree with one another. Some of them are very, very accurate, and some of them have been disproved over time, but they still are part of the ChatGPT model set. And transformer, so a type of model architecture used in AI that excels at understanding and generating human-like text. So that has come back to talking about, well, it segues nicely to talking about AI. Now, I hear a lot of people say, oh, it appeared last year and it's fantastic. Well, no. AI, in 1950, Alan Turing published the work Computer Machinery and Intelligence, which he introduced or coined the term artificial intelligence, and that's when it came into popular use back in the 1950s. So it has been around for a very long time, 74 years. And ChatGPT or large language models are a part of AI. They're not all of it. They don't represent all of it. Okay. So that's sort of one of the common misconceptions I have about it. And I could have said here, ChatGPT, very good at responding and asking questions. What is artificial intelligence? So I am currently working on, nice little explanation of artificial intelligence there. You can see up here in the top left-hand corner, I am currently working on ChatGPT 4.0. That's the model I'm working on. If you click on this option here, you can see there are 3 options there, GPT 4.0, GPT-4, GPT 3.5, okay? And I am again going to prompt ChatGPT to explain the differences between those models. I am on the paid version of ChatGPT. It costs $20 a month. ChatGPT sits on my side monitor all day, every day. It's like my new virtual assistant. And I think for $20 US a month, it is cheap as chips. You can, however, access it for free. And I encourage you, if this is the first time you're sort of covering it, jump in, set up an account for free, and be aware of how to use it and practice. What you will get access to is 3.5, and you will have limited access to it, but it will still work pretty well. Okay. So it talks about the different levels, have different sizes, they perform differently, they have different applications, and each one is trained on more and more data. So when it first came out, 3.5, the data available on it was only like to 2020, but now it is much further advanced. And it also will explore hyperlinks. When it first came out, so if you are using 3.5, be aware the data set it is looking at may be somewhat old. Okay, but still very, very, very useful. So, yep, so you can access. Oh, the other thing that I did want to mention here is if you come down here, see how it says temporary chat? So, anything that you put into ChatGPT just literally goes to that librarian, and she chops it up and she throws it into the air and it becomes confetti word. So if you put private information into ChatGPT, she's accessing it and it's going out into the world. So you want to be very careful about how you deal with private information. One of the options you have here is temporary chat. Set up temporary chat, and here it is. This chat won't appear in your history. It won't be used to create memories, and it won't be used to train the model, so it won't go to that librarian. Okay. I would still be careful about what private information you do put in ChatGPT. And if I'm doing anything, I remove identifying information, maybe put in like maybe a profit and loss statement, and just put the general information in. A Brisbane-based plumbing business. Don't need to put their name in there, etc. I am going to pop back into, I'm going to take that option off. So I'm back in. Me personally, everything I'm doing, I'm very transparent about, and I am happy to have open, and I'm happy to be part of the people who are training it. But I just want you to be aware of what's going on there. So, accountants love numbers. ChatGPT is a large language model. So a lot of what it does is words. So if we're going to use it effectively at this stage, we really need to lean into our words. But we do use, of course, a lot of words. And so I'm going to initially go through how you can use words, where you can use that sort of in our business. So you can very, very easily use ChatGPT to enhance your writing. So here I'm saying, can you lightly copy edit this? Do not make big changes. Any changes, please share in bold. Sometimes if you put something in to edit it, it will change it completely. That might be completely appropriate for you. I'm a writer. I've written 10 books, so I don't necessarily need too much change, but I am happy for it to look over it and see if there's any suggestions. By asking for them in bold, I can kind of look through and go, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I was saying, can you please contact the office, as it would be beneficial to have a meeting? Can you, and they've changed it to, can you please contact the office, as it would be beneficial to have a meeting before the end of the year? And it's changed, it's taken out the comma there. And it's made it's made 3 changes on that. And I can read through and go, yep, I'm happy with that. And I can copy it. So if you see down the bottom here, I have the option to read it aloud, copy it, regenerate if I'm not happy with that response, which is perfectly okay. Don't think the first one and the first response is it. You can regenerate repeatedly. If you don't think it's very good, tell it it's a bad response. It's learning from you. That's the way artificial intelligence works. And you could change the model number. So you could be sitting in 3.5, and then go, okay, I need 4 to come in here. Okay. Now, another thing that accountants use frequently is checklists. So you can ask ChatGPT to create some checklists for you. And what these do is sort of twofold. One, they form a very good foundation for a checklist. Two, they can sort of assist you in auditing your existing checklist. So here I asked for a new onboarding checklist for my small accounting business. And you can see it's come back, highlighted various things that are relevant there. Send a welcome pack with all relevant information, contact details, and resources and stuff like that. So you go, oh, I'm not offering a welcome pack. Maybe I should be adding that in. It can help you with your standard operating procedures. I'll drop another one in there. I think it really, you are very unlikely to use exactly what it generates. But if you need something like this, it can help you with that first 15 minutes of thinking about it. Boom, it comes out with a list and you can work from there. Half of it may be incorrect, but you still have a foundation of what to work from and move forward from. So the time saving in doing something like that is quite beneficial. And also you can use it and explain this to your clients. Another really useful thing that ChatGPT can do is step-by-step instructions. So perhaps you need to work out how to do something, or your clients need to work out how to do something, and you can use ChatGPT to develop the email that you're going to send them to explain how to do something. So here is a prompt that's a little bit cheeky. Can you explain to me, in the style of Heather Smith, author of Xero for Dummies, how I enter an invoice in Xero? So what you can't see down there, they're all the books that I've written. So I've written a lot of books. And all of those books got chopped up by the librarian, and all the words are out there. So I'm extraordinarily fortunate that ChatGPT knows my tone, knows my style of voice, and I can ask it to write in my style of voice because it has learnt it over the years and over all what it trained on. Interestingly, there is an author in the US called Amanda Aguilar, and she's written a book on Xero as well. And if you ask it in her tone of voice, it's very much different to this. And I can read that and go, that's how I would explain it. And I've been with her and she's read it and gone, yeah, I can see myself explaining it that way. So it's really, really kind of cool and interesting that, of course, it doesn't need to be Xero. It could be any software system. It could be how to cook a recipe. It could be anything. It doesn't need to be Xero. I just sort of use that as an example. And you can see step by step, it is explaining what to do, how to enter it, what to do. And you can say something like, got to step 6 and now I am lost. Please explain. So very frequently when I'm doing something, I know I've got to a certain step and then I'm lost and I need to explain further, and it will take a deeper dive and explain it further for you. Okay, so you can, and I will show you now. Let me do that now. Up in this top right hand corner, I don't know why it says AN. Not sure what happened there. I think maybe that's my business name, AN. But if I click on that, and then I click on customize ChatGPT. I think that's the right one. Okay, customize ChatGPT. So I clicked in this top right corner, customize ChatGPT. And there's two things I can tell it: custom instructions and how I'd like ChatGPT to respond. So here in my custom instructions, I tell it that it can call me Heather, but it gives you thought starters. So you can go in and tell it various things like, where are you based? What do you do for work? What are your hobbies and interests? Subjects you talk about for hours, and what are some of the goals that you have? So it will remember that. And when it is working with you, the more information it has, the better it becomes. So the more that you can share with it, while also sort of being not sharing anything too private, the better it will become. Now, down here, let me pull down. This is kind of funny. How would you like ChatGPT to respond? Now, interestingly enough, I haven't tested this recently, but in the olden days, back in back when it was released, just a sort of a short time ago, if I told it I was Australian, or if I asked it to use Australian English spelling, everything it said was mate, 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 mate. Every time it responded to me, it was mate, mate, mate. And then we had kangaroos, we had emus in it. So it kind of just got way too excited about the fact I was Australian. So to counteract that, identify to only use UK English spelling. If you're listening in from the United States of America, you probably don't need to say anything because it will automatically use US spelling there. I've also indicated I want all lists alphabetized. And I've also told it writing tone in my style. So you could try and identify what your writing tone is: kind, professional, concise, casual. Work out the words that describe your writing tone and put them in here there. Okay. And also you can jump in and tell it not to use particular phrases. Sometimes it was using trust you are in good health, and I don't like that phrase. Okay, so there, cancel out of that. So what I'm doing there is showing you both the step-by-step instructions and how you can customize it to suit your needs, to suit your voice, to suit how you're going to use it in future. So ChatGPT can help you with difficult conversations. As accountants, we frequently find ourselves in situations where we have to have difficult conversations. So you may need to fire a client. And so here I've just given it a very brief prompt, which was write a letter to fire a client politely due to continuous scope creep and work delays caused by their slowness to provide paperwork and receipts, emphasize the impact on our business, and offer to help them to find another provider. And you can see it is written a very long letter, which is kind, which explains what's happened. And that might, again, writing letters like that can cause quite an emotional toil on you, drain your energy, and boom, having assistance in how to deal with these difficult situations can be really beneficial. Again, this is AI and humans. So you need to jump in, read it, refine it, make sure it's suitable. Okay. I actually this situation where I was going to do some work with this guy, and then it didn't work out. And he sent me back this 2-page letter of why it wasn't working out. And I could see very clearly that he jumped into ChatGPT and got it to write this response. And all he kind of needed to say was, Heather, not able to make those dates, cheerio. And that would have been fine. But so you do need to jump in as the human and refine it. Otherwise, people are not sure who they're dealing with, and they can somewhat tell that that might be a robotic response. So also, ChatGPT can help you with other difficult conversations, and maybe drop into the chat area any difficult conversations you've had to deal with. But it could be highlighting ethical issues, delivering bad financial news, chasing paperwork and receipts, but you should have tools in place for that as well. Asking for additional explanations over expenditure, and chasing late payments. So now I'm going to share with you something really quite exciting. Let me copy this for you. And I'm going to start a new one. So we're starting afresh. I could keep going on that other one, but I'm just going to start a new one. And what I'm going to do is I'd like you to help me practice a difficult conversation. So help me practice this difficult conversation, okay? I'm the accountant and you, so that's ChatGPT, represent the client. The client's a plumber. I, the accountant, need to tell you that the client that you cannot claim the trip to Italy through business. You had heard from a friend at the pub that you were able to do this. So here in Australia, there is a lot of pub advice given. I'm not sure whether that happens everywhere, but that's something that happens in Australia. So it's coming through, and I'm kind of in this role play situation with ChatGPT. This is great for me if I'm a bit nervous about this conversation. How's business going? Hey, Heather, it's going pretty well, thanks. Just been busy with the usual stuff. I wanted to talk to you about something. I heard from a mate at the pub that I could claim my trip to Italy through the business. Is the right? Hello. Your trip to Italy sounds wonderful. I am not sure if it's a tax deduction. You are a plumber. Was there anything related to plumbing and your business that happened on the trip? But no, okay, so it was fantastic, but no, it's more of a holiday. I didn't do any plumbing work there or attend any business-related events. My mate said something about being able to claim travel expenses, so I thought it might apply. No, unfortunately, if there was nothing business related, it would not be a tax. So you can see here, it gives you the opportunity to practice. Now, that might be something useful for you. And if you're a senior accountant, something actually probably that you've gone through quite a lot. But when you have junior staff coming through or different situations coming through, you could see that that could actually be quite useful, that sort of role play about doing it. And I could have come up here and in that initial thing, I said, he is adamant about this. And so the whole conversation would have been far more forceful, and it would have given the responder the opportunity to sort of say, okay, the legislation says you can't do this. Did you keep a journal? Was it legitimate? You don't want to raise an audit. And so you have that sort of conversations, and then you could kind of review it. So it's actually good education, good learning, good training. So I hope you like that. Drop into the chat area if you thought that was a cool way to use ChatGPT. Lots of other ways to assist you with those difficult conversations. So let's now jump ahead and talk about marketing. ChatGPT can help you with marketing. Okay, it can give you some really simple and effective prompts to use. So let me do this. Write 3 posts, not just one, 3 posts suitable for LinkedIn, Facebook, and my newsletter to let them know we have spaces available for business strategy bookings for new clients. Okay. So that would probably take 90 minutes to develop, wouldn't it? Honestly. But here we have a LinkedIn post, and it's very stylized LinkedIn. There's a few emojis, there's a few hashtags. Then we had a Facebook post. And then we had a newsletter announcement. And look at that. A lot of that is really useful, and you could probably use as is. We're thrilled to offer a few exclusive spots, what we offer, da da da. So if you did know that you had some time available coming up in the schedule, this is something that you could do. I rolled it out in 2 minutes, and you can sort of put it up there. I encourage you. Oh, this is what we could do. I'll throw something a little bit different in here. What should we do? Create an image of happy business people learning about strategy, pink and purple hues. I always encourage, if you're going to post something on social media, to use an image. I encourage you to use a personal image where relevant, especially cute puppy dogs. They always seem to be really good. But you can create images in ChatGPT as well, which is kind of crazy. They don't seem to do a personal image is far more effective than a ChatGPT one. But An image is far more effective than not having something. So here you have, you can see here, goodness, an image, happy business people, purple hues. There is what they call a bit of hallucination happening in the body parts that are all not perfect. There's typically a few thumbs missing, but I can come up here, download that. I could download that and then use that on my social media to attract people to that image. Okay. So there are other ways that you can use ChatGPT for marketing. You could come in here. I know very, very, very little about TikTok. Okay. I actually recovered my TikTok account yesterday. But you could come in here and ask it to create a content calendar for an accountant who niches specifically in e-commerce clients, and it very specifically focuses on what you do, day, caption, hashtags, what you could run through, and you could then go into deep and ask it particular questions about that. So I think that that's a really fun way and way to push out there. Social media is taking up a lot of time. This is a way that can help you with it. ChatGPT can help you with technical things. Technical help if you have questions about how things particularly work. I'm going to, because that's just going on forever. Oh no, stop, finally. TikTok is a whole a rabbit hole, isn't it? It can help you with technical things. So someone who works in different time zones all the time, one of the things I always need to work out is what time zone is that person in, what time zone am I in, and how do I pull them together? So in this particular instance, what are these time zones converted into AEST? So that's the time zone I am in, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I pop that in there, and that just stops my brain having to think about that information. Let's see if it comes up. Now, if you do have any questions as I'm going through, please drop them into the chat area. And there's you've got your answers there. Now, I recently upgraded to Windows 11, and I had all these things popping up on my screen, and I wasn't sure what they were. And someone told me they were Windows snaps, so you probably perhaps know about them, but I didn't know about what was going on there. And so I came in, asked it, and got it to explain how to use it for me. So, long explanation there, okay? Hopefully you can see that screen and kind of see where I'm going with that. Accountants love spreadsheets, don't they? So ChatGPT can help you with your spreadsheet efficiency, with providing tips, formula assistance, and improving how you use the spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a new one again. And I see, have you noticed this paperclip down here? I'm going to upload to the computer. Let's see if I open up the right file. I have some inventory information. It's just inventory demo data. And I'm just going to, so I'm doing this simply as an example. I'm giving it some data and I'm saying, I have this data. How can I analyze it? As an accountant, you probably have a better idea of how you want to analyze it. But I just wanted to show it to you, how it's going to think about it, what it's going to do. I've done this exercise multiple times and it always comes up with different responses, which is kind of interesting in how it wants to analyze it. So it cleaned the data, it analyzed it. It's done a sales analysis, a cost analysis, and then it's sort of said to delve deeper, you might consider identifying the top 5 best and worst selling items, comparing opening and closing balances, visualizing the data to spot trends and outliers. Okay, so I'm going to now say, can you provide graphical suggestions to visualize the data? I like that. Oh. And now what it's doing is actually helping me, giving me suggestions of how I could potentially manipulate things in Excel. If you're a very experienced advanced Excel user, you know this, but there might be some time since you've had to do some of these charts. So it's a good idea to go, oh, okay, maybe this is a good refresher for you. And it's specifically telling you what you could look at, what you could think about. And you could then go in and say, oh, look at that. It really is deep diving into what you could do. Then you could ask it to provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to do that. And you could go in and ask it things on how to develop formulas or how to make the spreadsheet more efficient. If you've got a really big spreadsheet, remember, you don't want to put in information that is sort of going to go to the librarian. But if you take out the identifying data, then that can be useful. So one of the other things is we as accountants are the custodians of the data, and artificial intelligence, it very simply defined, is data plus algorithms. So we are in a really good place to do forecasting if we're using artificial intelligence. I'm going to upload a new profit and loss report. So here I'm grabbing a profit and loss report. There it is. And I'm going to say, can you analyze this profit and loss report? So initially I'm going to analyze it. And then the next step I'm going to do is I am going to ask it to produce a forecast. Fantastic. So that's analyzing the profit and loss there. And with that, I'm also going to, oh, did I copy that one yet? I'm now going to ask it to help me with forecast. So with that analysis, I've got a basis to have a conversation with my client and sort of gets me there a bit further. Of course, I always want to do a reasonableness check. Always remember down here, it says ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important information. Just don't build your models based on what comes out of ChatGPT. Use that as a basis, check it all, and make sure that you're happy with it. But it can really get you to an endpoint a lot sooner. So it's beginning the computations, and then it's making the forecast based on those assumptions, and then it's key takeaways, and then it's giving you recommendations. Again, a really good place to start with that forecast for the next month. What do you think of that? So with that, let me know if you do have any questions. ChatGPT is really good for brainstorming. So I'm just going to pop up here and just give it something. This isn't actually really a brainstorm. I just want to kind of highlight something here just for fun. Can you give me a list of 10 books accountants like to read? And so this is asking about books that accountants like to read. And what I kind of wanted to highlight here was the ChatGPT, due to bias in the training, bias in the books that it used from sort of history, a lot of there may be diversity bias built into the responses, and you do need to be aware of that. Otherwise, you keep building that in and keep going forward with that. So if you did want diversity there, you would need to, in many cases, specifically ask for some form of diversity in the responses. I think there's, so you can see that that is somewhat lacking in diversity. And be somewhat quirky or thoughtful in the questions that you ask it. So I know that I have a lot of people from the USA here, so I wanted you to give me a top 10 fun accountants in the USA. Let's see who I have here. And it's actually interesting that it has, so this is the first time it's happened here. It's given me 2 responses. Okay, so every so often it will give me 2 responses. Remember, I can always regenerate a response if I want. So don't always think the first thing is right. It can give you 2 responses. And interestingly, asking this question actually brought out a lot more diversity than just asking that other question, which was Interesting. I don't really understand why, but I do find this funny. And as you'll know, it's actually a lot of the same people, just sort of in different order there. And Blake Oliver, who is the co-founder of Earmark, is listed on both lists. So I'm sure he'll be happy as being known as the fun accountant. Okay. And I would simply need to select that and go forward with that. And I do recommend this Greg Kite and Greg Kite has a really, and Caleb Newquist have a really good podcast. Something, it's about a fraud podcast. That's a really good podcast to listen to. I enjoy that. The other thing that I wanted to highlight here is in terms of brainstorming. So I'm sort of talking about brainstorming and sort of extending the conversation here. You could, in fact, I won't do it like that. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to start a new one, start an absolutely fresh one. What you could do here is, Oh My Fraud. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you're listening in. Oh My Fraud is the podcast, and it's very interesting. It's like an hour-long podcast. I do most enjoyment. So this chat is using the philosophies of a book. So imagine you read a book and you really like the book and you like the philosophies of it. How do I apply it to my business? Okay. And so what he's done, so what it does is it's broken it down. And then you could come in and go, okay, let's deep dive into innovation accounting. So the book that I chose is a little bit more software development than actually accounting practice, but sometimes sort of having that sort of intersection and different way of thinking is really useful. Okay, explain it further to me. So I really love how this is brainstorming and pulling this out and unpacking and thinking about how I could do this. But what is great about this is that this conversation can go on and on and on and on and on. So notice that we have this hyperlink up here. I'm going to go copy. I'm not sure if this works on the platform that we're using. Oh, yes, it does look like it works. So that is the link to the conversation. So you can bookmark that link and keep coming back in and having a conversation with that thought bubble. And you can, typically in the past, they said it would only last maybe 30 to 60 days, but it does seem to be lasting a bit longer, and it does say it's lasting a bit longer. Okay. Over here, see here, this is where I've had all of the prompts that I've asked it. You could come here and rename it and sort of see brainstorm lean biz. Okay. And you could just keep coming back to it that way as well. So that's a really cool way of extending that. Now, I'd like to touch base with you about creating your own GPT. So if you see here, this is Explore GPTs, okay? ChatGPT has lots of GPTs within it that you can play with and practice and use. And it's a rabbit hole. Okay, you'll go through this and you'll just click on them and they'll take you away because they're really quite interesting and exciting. And I have to really tie my hands behind my back not to go away and run out of time here. But GPTs, writing, productivity, research and analysis, education, lifestyle programming. You can create a GPT and publish it, and other people can access it. Other people in your business can access it, or you can share it out and other people in the world can access it. What I'm going to do is, so you can see these GPTs here. I'm really trying to hold myself back from jumping into them. When the image was created before, that pink and purple hue image, that was done by DALL-E because that's embedded within what I'm using in ChatGPT. But I'm going to pop up here and click Create. Okay, so we're going in and we're creating. So if you see the need for something that you're repeatedly doing, that was when you could create it, okay? And I'm going to I'm looking for an easy to read summary of the points to give my clients to help them understand the differences between employee and independent contractor. And I'm going to go copy and give that the name. Okay. And I'm going to give that so the name of this GPT is employee and independent contractor, and this is Australian, okay? But fundamentally, the rules I'm using are exactly the same as how you would do it wherever you are based. The knowledge, I'm now going to upload slides. So what I'm actually going to do is upload the legislation. Okay, so you can see that the ruling compendium, and that was the ruling compendium and the compliance guidelines. Fantastic. We like that, don't we? That one is. Okay. And upload files. What one was that? Oh, and there. That's a different one. Okay. Okay, so that is the knowledge base. And I'm saying, please read the attached documents and use them as the knowledge base to respond to any questions. Fantastic. And I am going to, so I have created that. I've configured that, and I'm going to click on create. Actually, why did it not do that? Okay, it went a different way to me. I'm just going to create that. Anyone with the link, but I'll just put it me. Now, if I'd have clicked on create and done it that way, it also gives me a little avatar as well. The GPT is published. I'm going to view it. And here I have, see there, that is my ChatGPT. Explain the difference so my plumbing client knows. Give me an explanation I can give to my plumbing client. So the legislation is complex and hard to understand. It's hard for us to understand. And so using it this way gives us the opportunity to, okay, here it is, explain it, and then sort of put it out there for the plumbing client. And then if they need to have any sort of further questions on it, they can come back and ask you. That's a lot of information there, but you could then sort of dumb it down. Remember, we talked about comprehension right at the beginning, and that could be explain it to like I'm a 10-year-old, or explain it in more simple terms. Okay. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you that is a GPT that we have created. You can create them, and I even know of people who are creating them, and people are actually asking to buy them. So that is quite exciting. I have, because I'm a sad person, I also created one that was an emoji enhancer. So if you follow me on or connect with me on LinkedIn, you know I put a lot of emojis and everything. So I'm going to pop out of that. I think it's really important as accountants we understand with ChatGPT and the AI that is sort of coming down the track, be aware of where we fit in. And I think we are the custodians of data. And this is such an exciting time and opportunity for us all. And I wanted to highlight what are the future focused skills that accountants will need alongside the rise of AI. And so you've sort of put in here all of these things we very much have. So lean into them, knowing our data, knowing what we can read from the data, being adaptable and being flexible, and the critical thinking and the problem solving, and realizing that sort of we're not sitting at a computer all day tapping away. It might be that we actually have to go away and muse over things. And I think emotional intelligence is really going to come into the forecourt, in that the robotic responses from ChatGPT can be quite hurtful sometimes. So how are you being emotional and sort of having? I think that artificial intelligence will actually give us the opportunity to be more human, and to have more human conversations and actually free up our time for that, which our business owners will very much appreciate. Now, the other thing, uh, what are the Okay, so I really again wanted to identify and make you clear about the opportunities and the challenges. So that first one, I talked about the skills that you'll need, but the opportunities and challenges that come with AI. And I think that there is that's popping out there. The opportunities. We can very much are in this place to be able to interpret the data. We're very much in the place to be able to co-pilot, use the AI and co-pilot and sort of drive it, introduce it to our clients and enable them to use it efficiently in their practice, and work with them on integrations and implementations. And you can see that it's really able to surface data, in a fast manner that we can then have brave and informed decisions, make brave and informed decisions. And challenges. We've talked about the data security challenge. Implementation costs. This is currently very, very cheap. How other things will come down the track, we're not sure. Ethical concerns, as I pointed out, there is bias built into ChatGPT simply from the base of where it's been learning. How do we deal with that? And over dependence on technology. And hopefully, sort of, I've really drilled through this, that use it as a foundation, use it as a base, and refine it and perfect it and really shine. So, if I do have time for any questions, if you do have any questions, but I will keep talking. Okay, I'm going to, one of the other things, so I did want to touch on the skills that we need as accountants, the challenges and opportunities that are available to us, but there are other ways that we can use ChatGPT. So I had this question in a previous session. Was this lady said, "Well, fabulous session, but I'm going to go home, spend all night thinking about preparing for an interview that I have tomorrow because I need to develop really good questions for this interview." And so what you could do, again, very words based. Oh, that's not the prompt. Please generate tailored interview questions. Okay, so no, that's not that. That was not right. Please provide interview questions for a senior accounting role. We use modern accounting practices. And as you would go through it, you could then refine it and re-ask it questions. But you can see there that there's actually quite a foundation of questions there. Can you add in some questions? And like she just very quickly, we were able to very quickly sort out all the issues so she could go home and actually have a good night's sleep, which was wonderful. Okay, so you can see again, very quickly get to, they're not all going to be what you want, but many of them are going to be quite useful. Okay, so if no one has any questions there, I really hope that you enjoyed the session today. If you can pop up my slides again, I'm not sure if I can do that. Excellent. Okay, so these were the things that we covered off in today's session. the basics of using ChatGPT, how to craft effective ChatGPT prompts. It was more than 10 ways accountants can use ChatGPT. I hope you really took away and found that useful. Limitations, security, data, ethics concerns, future focused skills, opportunities and challenges. So I encourage you to connect with me. Connect with me. Sort of accounting apps, newsletter, podcast, a community, and I thank you very much for attending today's webinar, Maximizing AI Efficiency, Practical Prompts with ChatGPT for Accountants. I'd like to thank the Earmark team with special mention to Chrissy and Joel and David Leary, who assisted in the production of this webinar. I'm Heather Smith, and I've been your speaker for today's session. Again, I'd like you to encourage you to connect with me and wait and listen to Blake talk about how you can get CPD for this course.
Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Great job, Heather. You did fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Has it shut down for everyone?
Yep. Oh.